आई विल स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग देन यू सी। जब मैं बोलने लगूंगा तब आप देखिए, अभी नहीं, जब थोड़ा क्राउड आ जाएगा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा, जय गिरिवरधारे, जय गिरिवरधारे, जय गोपी जन वल्लभा, जय जय गिरिवरधारे। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा, कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा, कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा, कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय राधा माधव। यशोदनन्दना ब्रजनरञ्जना, यामुना तिरवनचारि। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण। जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद, प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद। युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं, देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया, भगवत्य उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna, welcome everybody to the Sunday feast program. I'm very happy that devotees are trying to take part in the process of Shravanam, the process of hearing. It's one of the most important process of spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada always said that spiritual life starts with hearing. The more we hear and the more we meditate upon what we have heard, and then the more we try to apply what we have been meditating upon, our spiritual life becomes very sublime. So, welcome everybody to this Sunday feast. And today we are reading from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 1. The title of this chapter is Questions by the Sages. Primarily, the setup of Bhagavatam is such that first, the first 3 verses of this chapter, they are a prelude to the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. They describe the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very iconic. His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada expounded or spoke upon this first verse for more than a month, 2 months or so. And this first verse in itself is basically the entire basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. However, in this chapter, this title of this chapter is Questions by the Sages. They ask, specifically speaking, 6 questions. And the answer to these 6 questions is the rest of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a narration inside a narration inside a narration. So the primary Srimad Bhagavatam, by the way, Bhagavatam is an eternal Quran. It's an eternal scripture. It's not that Vyasdev has written it now. It always exists. And it has been narrated by different people to different personalities on various circumstances. But the present version of Bhagavatam is the version which Parikshit Maharaj heard from Shukadeva Goswami. As Shukadeva Goswami was speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, amongst the many sages who were sitting and hearing, Suta Goswami was one of them. Later on, he again recited what he had heard thousands of years ago near the banks of Ganges in the assembly or in a place called Naimisharanya. Suta Goswami was speaking to Shaunak Adi Rishis, a group of sages headed by Shaunak Goswami or Shaunak Rishi. So Shaunak Adi Rishis, they ask 6 questions to Suta Goswami, and in answer to that 6 questions, Suta Goswami in parampara, in disciplic succession, recites all these things. And so therefore this chapter is specifically called as the Questions by the Sages. Let's recite this verse and then we'll understand more about it. Kritvan kila karmani saharamena keshavaha atimartyani bhagavan gudhaha kapatamanushaha kritvan kila karmani saharamena keshavaha atimartyani bhagavan gudhaha kapatamanushaha kritvan kila karmani saharamena keshavaha atimartyani bhagavan gudhaha kapatamanushaha. Would someone like to repeat the verse? Kritvan kila karmani सह रामेण केशवः अतिमत्यानि भगवान् गूढ़ः कपटमानुषः कृत्वान् किल कर्माणि सह रामेण केशवः अतिमर्त्यानि भगवान् गूढ़ः कपटमानुषः. Someone else, please. कृत्वान् किल कर्माणि सह रामेण केशवः अतिमर्त्यानि भगवान् गूढ़ः कपटमानुषः. Now we'll go in word to word meanings. Kritvan, done by. Kila, what? Karmani, acts. Saha, along with. Ramena, Balram. Keshavaha, Shri Krishna. Ati Martyani, superhuman. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Gudhaha, masked as. Kapata, apparently. Sorry. Manushaha, human being. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balram, played like a human being. And so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. Purport. The doctrines of anthropomorphism and zoomorphism are never applicable to Shri Krishna or the personality of Godhead. The theory that a man becomes God by the tint of penance and austerities is very much rampant nowadays, especially in India. Since Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were detected by the sages and saints to be personality of Godhead, as indicated in revealed scriptures, many unscrupulous men have created their own incarnations. This process of concocting an incarnation of God has become an ordinary business, especially in Bengal. Any popular personality with a few traits of mystic powers will display some feat of jugglery and easily become an incarnation of Godhead by popular vote. Lord Shri Krishna was not that type of incarnation. He was actually the personality of Godhead from the very beginning of his appearance. He appeared before his so-called mother as four-armed Vishnu. Then at the request of the mother, he became like a human child and at once left her for another devotee at Gokul, where he was accepted as the son of Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mata. Similarly, Sri Baladev, the counterpart of Lord Sri Krishna, was also considered a human child born of another wife of Sri Vasudeva. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that his birth and deeds are transcendental, and that anyone who is fortunate as to know the transcendental nature of his birth and deeds will at once become liberated and eligible to return to the kingdom of God. So, knowledge of the transcendental nature of birth and deeds of Lord Sri Krishna is sufficient for liberation. In Bhagavatam, the transcendental nature of the Lord is described in 9 cantos, And in the 10th canto, his specific pastimes are taken up. All this becomes known as one's reading of this literature progresses. It is important to note here, however, that the Lord exhibited his divinity even from the lap of his mother, and that his deeds are all superhuman. He lifted Govardhan Hill at the age of 7. And that all these acts definitely prove him to be actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet, due to his mystic covering, he was always accepted as an ordinary human child by his so-called father and mother and other relatives. Whenever some Herculean task was performed by him, the father and mother took it otherwise. And they remained satisfied with unflinching parental love for their son. As such, the sages of Naimisharanya describe him as apparently resembling a human being, but actually he is the supreme, almighty personality of Godhead. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tat Sat. This can be switched off. Is there water here? Or no, not. I was pointing towards the sound vibration. Yeah, Japa box. Yeah. So, Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balram, played like a human being, and so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. No, there is a blue colored bottle which I have. That, yeah. So this verse is a very, very nice verse, actually. Last week was also a very nice verse. Last to last week, I hope all of you very nicely heard about it. It's called as the Swadu verse. Do you people remember? Swadu, Swadu, Pade, Pade. The word Swadu is there in the previous verse. Vayam tu na vitrapyama uttama shloka vikrame yat srinvatam rasa jnanam swadu swadu pade pade. It's the Swadu verse. Anybody who has taste in Bhagavatam will also have taste in this verse. And today's verse, so when these sages of Naimisharanya, they are talking to Suta Goswami, they are very specifically saying that we want to hear about Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who comes when in the human society acts like a very ordinary human being. But he's not a very ordinary person. We know. So we want you to recite some pastimes so that we can relish and we can progress in bhakti. This verse, this entire chapter has many important lessons of spiritual life. In this chapter, there are some verses in which the sages of Naimisharanya, they are describing the qualifications of Suta Goswami. What makes Suta Goswami an ideal teacher to teach Srimad Bhagavatam, from whom everybody should listen from? In this chapter, it is also recited the qualifications of the hearers, how people should hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And on that, Srila Prabhupada also puts a lot of light. I think it is there in the second verse. Let me just pull it out for you. So what is, and this word, this also highlights how Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very special, unlike other scriptures. Give me a minute, I'll just find it out. Yeah, it's in the verse number 3 actually. So, how to hear Srimad Bhagavatam? What is the process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? There is a very nice verse, which is again the glorification and the prelude to Srimad Bhagavatam. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam shuka mukhad amruta dravya samyutam pivata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. So in this verse, just see, it is told, O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of the Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this juice has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including the liberated souls. So there is a word called nigama. Nigama, that which comes down in the disciplic succession, is called as the Vedic literature. Now, who is speaking this verse? Vyasdev is speaking this verse. Now, Vyasdev, why is he writing that it emanated from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami? He should write, I am writing this. Why is he saying Shukadeva Goswami? Can someone try to think and tell? That means Shukadeva Goswami is the original author of Bhagavatam. Vyasdev came and heard in the original assembly, and then from after hearing, being a Shrutidhar, he wrote it down.
he was aware that who will recite first time.
Very good. So this is a very general understanding that Vyasdev is Trikaldarshi. He can see past, present, and future. And so he has seen. So wherever in Srimad Bhagavatam it is mentioned Suta Goswami is speaking, Vyasdev knows that in future Suta Goswami will say these verses. Wherever it is Maitreya and Vidura, that also Vyasdev is seeing. Wherever Shukdev Goswami is quoting, that also is seen by Vyasdev. And what questions Parikshit Maharaj will ask in future, that was also known to Vyasdev, and he has compiled it down in that way. That is the potency of Vyasdev. So he is telling, "O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures." Why Bhagavatam is called mature fruit? Can someone tell? Why is it the mature fruit? Yes. Puranas. Yes. 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 Yes.
He instructed, you haven't glorified the God. So that's why it came in the last stage.
In the last stage, Vyasdev has written Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why it's called as the most mature fruit of Vedic literature. But I have a counter question for you. The verses in the Puranas or in the literatures which were written before Srimad Bhagavatam, in those Puranas and Vedic literatures, references to various verses of Bhagavatam have been already given. Like if you compile the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, Skanda Puran talks about how glorious Srimad Bhagavatam is. Padma Puran also talks about how glorious Srimad Bhagavatam is. So if your statement is correct, that Bhagavatam was the last creation of Vyasdev, how is it that in the previous creations of Vyasdev mentioned two verses of Bhagavatam, and in fact, Skanda Puran says that Bhagavatam will have 12 cantos, 365 chapters, and 18,000 verses. Already it was mentioned. So how is it possible that something which was created in the end, after being scolded by Narad Muni, is already being quoted? That means Vyasdev knew that I will write Bhagavatam, and he was acting by not writing Bhagavatam, only waiting for Narad Muni to come and chastise him.
Bhagavatam was always there.
Correct. Yes, but the version which he was about to write contained 18,000 verses. That also is being quoted in Skanda Purana. So I'll tell you what I have heard from my seniors. Vyasdev had already written Srimad Bhagavatam before being scolded by Narad Muni. But when Narad Muni came and scolded, he again edited that Srimad Bhagavatam. He removed few verses and he put few verses. And when he was removing, that was the time when he was putting these kind of verses. The verse number 2, you see. These kind of verses. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. So you see, when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we should ask questions to ourselves. We should not just read like in one of the lectures which I was hearing, Srila Prabhupada says, one should not hear like the hogs. You bring a pig here, how will the pig hear? Something is going, something is coming on, doesn't matter. So, it is told that this Bhagavatam is rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, and it is understandable only by those who are fully pure in heart. My request to all the assembled devotees, please raise your hands if you think or feel or believe that your heart is fully pure. And if your heart is not fully pure, please walk out. Anyways, you will not understand anything. This is a disclaimer. So what should we do? How should we approach Srimad Bhagavatam? It is meant for Nirmat Saranam Satam. How many of you are non-envious and fully pure at heart? Please. Therefore, we should stop the class only. So therefore, when you read the purport, when you read the verse, and when you get these questions, when you read the purport, you'll get the answers. Srila Prabhupada is saying that anybody who is trying to sincerely follow a pure devotee is also a pure devotee, is also a Nirmat Saranam Satam. It is mentioned in this purport only, if you read. So therefore, since we are sincerely trying to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is coming from the Acharyas, and what should be our mood of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? Oh, I will get some information and then I will go and show my greatness and glory to others and make them realize what a great devotee I am. For that purpose, I'm coming to Srimad Bhagavatam to collect some nectar points, which I can say later in my YouTube videos. Huh? Should this be the mood? We are reading Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam because Srila Prabhupada ordered us to do it. It is just to please him. We are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. And what will happen if we please Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas? We will become successful in our spiritual lives. Yasya prasadat Bhagavad prasado yasya prasada nagati kato. Bhakti is the process of grace. How to attract grace of the previous acharyas, how to attract mercy of Krishna. That is the main focus of bhakti. And for getting that grace, we are reading this Bhagavad Puran. So just to understand, this composition was already made by Vyasadeva. And when he was dividing the whole Vedic literature and planning all the Puranas, he had already compiled this also. But when he was chastised by Narad Muni, he injected few verses and removed few verses. And so the last composition, which was again re-edited, became the Bhakti scripture. Coming to the point how we should read Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada answers that question in the third verse purport. Would you like to read the first paragraph of the purport, please? Yes.
Actually, definitely prove that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the sublime literature which surpasses all other Vedic scriptures due to its transcendental qualities. It is a transcendental to all mundane activities and mundane knowledge. In this sloka, it is stated that Srimad Bhagavatam is not only superior literature, but it is the written root of all Vedic literatures. In other words, it is the theme of all Vedic knowledge. Considering all this, patient and submissive hearing is definitely essential. With great respect and attention, one should receive the message and lessons imparted by the Srimad Bhagavatam.
So what is the way of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? Who can tell me? See, these words are very loaded. In fact, this is one of the most loaded purports of Srila Prabhupada. If we can kindly understand this nicely and read it scrutinizingly, our lives, all problems will be solved. Sorry? That's what we are about to discuss now. Be patient, you'll understand. Considering all this, patient and submissive hearing is definitely essential. Acharyas like Srila Prabhupada do not waste even one line. Don't think that Srila Prabhupada was writing an essay. So he wrote patient and submissive, and then next line he wrote respect and attention. Just like that, he's doing jugglery with words. No. Each and everything is important and has been written for a purpose. That's why I'm discussing this, because this is very essential to attend and read Srimad Bhagavatam classes and the book in general. So patient hearing is required of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the preface of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada says that anybody who has systematically read the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam has already become God realized. Srila Prabhupada often says in his lectures, don't be a monkey. Monkeys, have you seen? They jump from one branch to another, but they don't remain in one place. So Srimad Bhagavatam is such a nice literature. The only qualification to read Srimad Bhagavatam, that is also mentioned in this preface, is one should be sincere and one should go reading systematically. If you have these two qualifications, you are fit to become completely God realized by reading the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, gender, whatever. So therefore, you have to be patient. There may be many subject matters which you may understand, which you may not understand, which you may like, which you may not like, but simply you have to patiently hear and go on hearing. This problem became very evident to me when I was reading the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Each purport of second canto is 4 pages, at least. And I used to forget the verse only while reading the purport. And when I used to open my Srimad Bhagavatam at 10 p.m. in the night to read, you can imagine my condition. That book had become my sleeping book. I used to sleep with it. And at one point of time, I was fully frustrated because I was not understanding anything, especially the secondary creation, the way the tan matras are created and the way the various senses are evoked, and the things like Mahat Tattva, and it was I was not able to, it was like electrical engineering for me. I mean, no offense to electrical engineers, it's a very dry subject. It's only on paper. You can't even touch the wire once and see for yourself. So it was appearing very dry to me, but that was my fault. But then somehow I got guidance and I patiently continued reading. And then when my dull intelligence became a little spiritualized, then I found some hope towards the end of Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, and then third canto onwards. Because my intelligence is very dull, so it needs some pastimes. It does not grasp the philosophy very nicely. So when the description of Vaikuntha started coming in the third canto, that time I picked up. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, over a period of time, the ability to grasp philosophy also has improved. But that all happened because of patient behavior. One has to be very patient. Suppose you are reading the Puranjan pastimes of fourth canto. I think somebody was telling me, somebody's friend, husband was commenting that this Puranjan pastime is going on from last 1 year. Life has become a Puranjan only. It's not easy. Verse after verse, you are reading the same thing. It appears to you the same thing, but it's not easy. So therefore, you have to be patient. And then you have to be submissive. Patient and submissive. What is the meaning of submissive? It means have no doubt in whatever Srimad Bhagavatam is telling, describing to you. Don't have a challenging attitude in front of Srimad Bhagavatam. In one lecture, I was hearing how Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. The Padma Puran describes the various cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. They represent various body parts of Krishna also. So suppose if you're going to talk to someone and you're not paying attention to that person, and that person has some information and some revelations for you, he's coming to talk to you, but you are like constantly on your mobile, which normally you do all the time. Just see. This is what happens to our relationships also. So, suppose Ravindra, you please talk to me. I'll just give a demo of what we are doing with ourselves and Krishna also. Can you talk to me? Try to talk to me. Since I'm not even looking at you, you don't even feel like talking to me. Similarly, that is what we do with every day with our japa and even while reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam is like a kalpataru. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur compares Bhagavatam to various things, and one of the comparisons which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur derives is Bhagavatam is like Mohini avatar. The Mohini avatar will reveal nectar to the demigods and absolutely nothing to the demons. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. The attitude with which we approach Srimad Bhagavatam decides what Srimad Bhagavatam is going to reveal to us. In the Nectar of Instruction, Srila Prabhupada says, the progress in spiritual life depends on the attitude of the practitioner. So the attitude or the mood in which we approach Srimad Bhagavatam, if we are approaching Srimad Bhagavatam to read and become a scholar, then we will never be able to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. However, if we approach Srimad Bhagavatam in the mood of service, trying to understand Srila Prabhupada's instructions given in it, trying to read it because Srila Prabhupada ordered us to do so, with a desire to please Srila Prabhupada, then Bhagavatam will reveal. That is called submissive hearing. It should be patient, submissive, and then with a lot of respect. What do you mean by respect? What is the difference between submissive and respect? Is Prabhupada just repeating his statements, or is there a difference? Yes. Somebody was saying something. Matlab? Belief.
Respecting, like having shraddha.
Okay, respect means belief, but that is already submissive. You are already believing, never challenging, asking questions in a submissive way. Respect means what? Yes. Yes. Awe and reverence. Okay.
Figure that person or that group as someone above us.
Very good. We consider this book as not a comic book, but Krishna himself. This is book Bhagavad, and then there is the person Bhagavad also. We have to respect the book Bhagavad very nicely. So with a lot of respect, we have to read. Suppose if you respect someone, and if they have asked you to do something, will you do that? Similarly, whatever instructions we get from book Bhagavad or the person Bhagavad, should we try to follow it? That is the meaning of respect. Otherwise, we will become hogs in spiritual life, simply reading and not following. And what is the meaning of attention?
In detail.
Sorry?
Following in details,
In detail, okay.
whatever is being conveyed, we understand.
Suppose you are my friend, and you know the details about, let's say, my habits. What does this imply? You love me. So love lies in the attention to the details. So when we pay attention to Srimad Bhagavatam, it means that we love Srimad Bhagavatam. Wherever we put attention, there only energy and love can exist. So this is the way in which you have to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and read. Patient, submissive, respect, attention. It is not a coincidence that Srila Prabhupada has put these 4 words in the purport. Now, coming back to today's verse. So Lord Shri Krishna is the personality of God along with Balram. He played like a human being, so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. Lord Krishna appears in all the species. It is not that he appears only in the human species. How many incarnations of Krishna have happened till now? 1. Option A, 1. Option 2, 10. Option B, 10. Option C, 36. Option D, don't know. Unlimited maybe. Very good. Unlimited incarnations have actually happened. He appears in every species. He not just as a human being in the Krishna form, but he also appears as a Matsya. He appears as Varaha. He Yeah, the Bhagavatam doesn't even describe. The Bhagavatam just says that just like there are many waves in the ocean, similarly, there are many incarnations of Krishna. Some of them are known to us, some of them are not known to us also. So Prabhupada uses the word anthropomorphism and zoomorphism. So when you read Srila Prabhupada books, you will also become good in vocabulary. What is anthropomorphism? Come on, at least someone can search in Google and try to answer. Everybody has mobiles. Sorry? Humanoid form. Okay. Can we say giving human attributes to God is called as anthropomorphism? Let me also ask Google. The attribution of human characteristics and behavior to something which is not human is called anthropomorphism. So we know that God is not a human being. God is God. But when we start giving human characteristics, for example, there are many people who say Krishna was not God. He was just a very great human being, a great king, or a great yogi. That is called anthropomorphism. Now, what is zoomorphism? Animal-like qualities. Huh? Representing God as animals or attributing the animal characteristic to gods. When Krishna comes as Varahadev, so he is going around smelling. Does this mean that Krishna actually keeps smelling all the time? When Krishna comes as Narsimadev, he is killing, eating, drinking blood. Does it mean that we should offer meat to Krishna? Oh, Narsimhadev will eat meat also. There is one temple in Ahobilam, Navanarsimha temple. So in one of the temples, I forget the name of that temple, one of the Navanarsimha temples in Ahobilam, the local tribe who stay nearby, they have a katha that Lord Narsimhadev came to that forest and married the daughter of the king of that tribe. And in order to sell, as long as he was there, in order to celebrate, they offered a lot of meat to Narsimhadev. Of course, we don't believe such kathas because in no incarnation, Krishna accepts meat from his devotees. So when we start giving animal-like attributes to God, that is zoomorphism. And when we start giving human-like attributes to God, that is anthropomorphism. Basically, we have some conceptions in our mind. When we start limiting the omnipotence of God via those conceptions, that is called anthropomorphism and zoomorphism. It is very important to understand that God is inconceivable. If our Ishta, if our worshipable personality is not inconceivable, we will never be able to worship him and surrender to him. This is very, very important. So the moment we try to understand and think that I'll understand God fully, I'll categorize God fully, I'll describe God fully, again, some kind of ism will start. So do not try to understand God, just try to surrender to him. Don't try to understand what he will do, how he will do, when he will do. Then only one can be humble in their spiritual life. And here Prabhupada is saying that many people are trying to become God. They unscrupulous men have created their own incarnations. Any popular personality with few traits of power will display some feat of jugglery and easily become an incarnation of God by popular vote. Can you give me one example, recent times, who is becoming God by popular vote, by showing some magic? Sorry? Yes, that person whose name you are taking. He has become a subtle God. He is smart enough to say that I'm not God. I'm just a devotee of some Ishta. And whatever so-called mentalism I'm doing, my Ishtadev is telling me. Now, this is another kind of cheating. He calls himself as an Ishta. See, we are not against him. We are in the process of bhakti. He is in the process of siddhi. He may have some siddhis. We are not against him. But we are just trying to help people understand how what he is saying can be misleading. He calls himself as a devotee of Hanuman. Can anybody give me one instance in Hanuman's life where he has done anything except bhakti? Now that Hanuman is sitting next to him whole day and telling him whose father has run away with whom, and how to bring back someone's father, and how to find who has stolen something from your house, and how to get rid of this back pain. Do you think Hanuman has no other job? He'll sit beside someone telling them how to get rid of your fever, how to run this ghost away. At least I don't think Hanuman will ever agree to do that. You cannot see Hanuman, but I can talk to Hanuman. So I'm as good as Hanuman. I'm not God. You understand how subtle it is. I'm not God. I'm not idiot to call myself as God, because PK has come and Oh My God movie has come. I have also seen. Now I'm not God, but I'm the next best thing to God. I'm a devotee. And you have to worship. Do you see the problem in this whole approach? The actual devotees of God, they are running around saying, Hey Radhe, Hey Braj Devike Chalalite, Hey Nand Suno Kutah. The 6 Goswamis who are worshipable in our altar, they always keep saying, Oh Krishna, where are you? Or Radharani, where are you? Where can I find you? How can I meet you? They are daily having pastimes with Krishna, but if you ask them, have you seen Krishna? They will say, I have not seen Krishna. You should bless me so that I can one day see Krishna. So someone who has actually, just like a rich man, you are a very rich man, I know. If I ask you how much money you have, you'll say, I have no money. Similarly, a person who has got mercy of God will never say that I have received the mercy of God. A person who has got the mercy of his Ishta will never say that I have become Dhanwan by the mercy of my Ishta, and publicly claim it that I am blessed by Hanuman, you come to me, I'll solve your problems. Humility is the nature of mercy. Whoever gets grace or mercy, they are humble, and they will not speak about that mercy like that. So therefore, whenever someone becomes God or godlike by popular vote, there is always a problem. This is cheating religion. The aim of religion is to make people pure devotees of Krishna. That is the aim of religion. If any other thing is happening, understand it to be cheating religion. So therefore, there is another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam section which describes the various kinds of cheating religion. In the 7th canto, 15th chapter, shloka number 12, the various kinds of cheating religions have been described. Would someone like to read? Can you read, please?
There are 5 branches of irreligion, appropriately known as irreligion. Religious principle for which one is unfit, pretentious religion, analogical religion, and cheating religion. One who is aware of real religious life must abandon these 5 as irreligion.
So there are 5 kinds of irreligion. Vidharma, Abhas, Paradharma, Upadharma, and Chaladharma. If you read this purport, you will know more about them. That is why Krishna has said, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam. So actually, when somebody will describe this Abhas to you or Paradharma to you, you will be bewildered. You will think this is only religion. So therefore, there is only one religion in Kali Yuga, that is surrender to Krishna. Can someone read this translation? Yes, can you read?
This principle that obstruct one from following his own religion are called dharma. Religious principle introduced by others are called pradharma. A new type of religion created by one who is falsely proud proposes the principle of Vedas is called upadharma. And interpretation by one who of words is called
Chaladharma. So religious principles that obstruct one from following his own religion is vidharma. So what is the dharma of the spirit soul? To render devotional service to Krishna. Now, any other duty which is mostly self-created, which stops you from rendering devotional services, can be falling in the category of vidharma. Now, religious principles introduced by others is called as paradharma. Like communism was introduced by someone else. Socialism introduced by someone else. New type of religion created by one who is falsely proud and who opposes the principles of Vedas is called as Upadharma. Any idea, any person coming to your mind who is completely opposed to the Vedic literature and trying to create something new and asking people to follow him? And interpretation by one's jugglery of words is called Chaladharma. Chaladharma are basically the Mayavadis. They can be in that category. They take a particular verse of the Bhagavad Gita and they misinterpret it and twist and turn and present it in their own way to satisfy their own purpose. So these are the various things. There are only 4 categories. I think there are 5 categories. One more will be there in the next verse. Let's see. Can somebody read this? Can you read if you can see?
But if one performs the restricted duties for his particular asrama or varna, why are they not sufficient to mitigate all material
Yes. So Abhas is being described here. Pretentious religious system manufactured by one who willfully neglects his prescribed duties of his order of life is called Abhas. But if one performs the prescribed duties of his particular ashram or varna, why are they not sufficient to mitigate all material distresses? Basically, if everybody follows the varnashram dharma, acts according to the directions given by the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and tries to give up all other kinds of dharma and have only one goal to surrender to Krishna, then nobody will fall trapped to these cheating religions. Yesterday, one boy was asking me that these people have been exposed in front of, there are some cheaters in the name of Swamis who are there in the society right now. They have been exposed by the media. They have been exposed by their followers to be basically abhasa. They are not following their dharma properly. So a question was asked to me that even when they have been exposed, they have been put in jail, they have come out of jail, when so many issues are against them, why do people follow them in thousands and lakhs? The answer is rascaldom attracts rascaldom. People want to follow. People don't want to follow the supreme truth. They want to follow the lie, basically. They want to be cheated. Srila Prabhupada says people want to be cheated. That's why cheaters exist. They don't want to follow Krishna consciousness. They don't want to read the Bhagavad Gita. They are envious of God. They are looking for one other cheater to whom they can surrender to. So Krishna was not such a cheater. Srila Prabhupada is telling in today's verse that Krishna was not such a cheater. He was God from day one. He was God from the laps of his mother. He did not do any tapasya to become God. He was God already. Supreme personality of Godhead. However, Krishna is Akhil Rasamrita Sindhu or Akhil Rasamurti. He is the embodiment of all rasas. He enjoys all the rasas. It is very important for people who are in paternal rasa towards Krishna as a father or a mother to understand that, suppose if somebody starts thinking that my son or my daughter is an incarnation of God, Will they love their children or surrender to the children? Sorry? Yes, how will they do love? Kardam Muni. The day since Kapil Muni was born, he knew he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As soon as Kapil Muni came, he circumambulated him, spent some time, and then left house and took sannyas. Before going, he offered obeisances to his own son. Now, what father-son relationship lesson can you derive from there? The lesson is that as soon as my son is born, I should offer obeisances. So it is very necessary for the Yog Maya to function in a particular way so that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can relish some rasas in a particular relationship. In Dwarka, when Lord Krishna would do something, everybody would immediately offer obeisances. They would start singing Venkat Suprabhatam and Brahma Samhita and all those things will immediately start. But that was not the case in Vrindavan, because Supreme Lord Krishna didn't want it like that. He wanted more intimacy with people. So therefore, in Vrindavan, when Krishna is subduing Kaliya in Yamuna, and after subduing the great serpent Kaliya, when he comes out, the first thing which Nand Maharaj asks him is, did Kaliya pull you in the river or did you jump on your own? Now, imagine if this taste or this kind of Yog Maya covering is not there, how will Krishna relish that paternal love and how will Nand Maharaj be able to chastise Krishna? He has seen Kaliya right now on the 1000 hoods. He has seen Krishna on the 1000 hoods of Kaliya dancing, singing, chastising, beating. Then the Nagpatnis come, they start offering prayers. It's inconceivable. Imagine your child doing that. First of all, you should not imagine your child doing that. But even suppose if in your dreams also, if you see, next time when you go to scold your child, you'll be afraid, whom am I scolding? Sorry? Yeah. But Nand Maharaj had no remorse in scolding Krishna. Similarly, Mother Yashoda had no, he has lifted Govardhan and he has just kept Govardhan down. And Mother Yashoda is thinking, you must have faced a lot of difficulty. You must have not eaten from many days. You must be hungry. Come. Next time you should not lift such a mountain. See, so much weak you have become like that. This is the kind of discussion. So basically, Krishna becomes more humble in Vrindavan. He's killing Dhenukasur, he's killing, he's swallowing the forest fire. And after that, people are treating him like a small child. He is defeating, subduing Kaliya. And when he comes out, they are putting blanket around him that he should not feel cold. Dwadash Aditya. In front of them, he is calling 12 sons. And that Dwadash Aditya Tila pastime is happening. Everybody is seeing that there are 12 suns in the sky. And Krishna is being dried up. But still they are thinking, oh, he will feel cold. Let's bring some blanket. So this is the supreme potency of Krishna. By his Yog Maya, he makes everything favorable, everything beautiful, everything relishable. And that is God. And in whichever incarnation he comes, he does the similar pastimes. And there are always many lessons which we can derive from all his pastimes. Let me ask you one question. How many of you like the Govardhan Leela? Everybody likes the Govardhan Leela. But what is the lesson which you can derive in your life from Govardhan Leela? I always insist everybody that whenever you hear any katha, try to hear the katha because it is very purifying to the heart and soul and it gives hope. Hope to everybody, inconceivable hope. But at the same time, we should derive some lessons also. Katha and lessons are like two parallel railway tracks of Krishna consciousness. So what is the lesson you derive from Govardhan Leela? Very good. Indra started thinking that I am the creator, maintainer, destroyer of all the prosperity of all the three worlds because I am the one who gives rains. Yes, so we should not think that we are the doers. Very good. Yes. Yes. Basically, what you're trying to say that if we also surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will lift a Govardhan hill for us also. Correct? Is Gopi Jan Vallabha. If we also walk in the footsteps of the gopis, then Krishna will do anything to protect us. Now, Srila Prabhupada often says, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is very simple, but its application is very difficult. This surrender to Krishna is not an easy thing. It's a moment-to-moment thing, and one will be tested many times. Think about Bali Maharaj, the way he was tested. First of all, everything was taken away from him. Secondly, his spiritual master had cursed him. Third, his own wife was scolding him in front of everybody. Fourth, his own people lost faith in him. Fifth, even Vamandev was scolding him. Sixth, his ancestor Prahlad Maharaj had come and he was looking at him and shedding tears. Can you tolerate such a thing? Nobody can tolerate such a thing. So everybody will have to go through a test. And when we passed test after test after test after test after test, then we will begin the process of surrender. And when we perfect that surrender in such a way that in our whole life, there is no separate conception of lifestyle other than surrendering to Krishna, then Krishna will lift Govardhan for us. And then we will see Krishna face to face. And that requires patience, attention, respect, and submissiveness. Ram Navami is fast approaching. I will end today's class by reciting some pastimes of Lord Ram and maybe also one pastime of Hanuman. And we'll derive few lessons from it. And then we'll maybe take some questions. I like this activity. This is my personal meditation. I take any pastime and I try to derive lessons from it. Or rather, I take a verse from Bhagavad Gita and I try to connect, okay, this verse or this quality has been projected in which pastime of the Lord. So today morning, I was reading this verse. Let's recite this verse. Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priyam hitam chayat swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva vanmayam tapauchyate. Who would like to read? Can you read the translation?
Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature.
Yes, so the way to speak is this. Whatever we say must be truthful. And that truth should be pleasing. And that pleasing truth should bring benefit to someone. And that beneficial, pleasing truth should not agitate someone also. And whatever you say, you should quote Vedic literatures. If you can't speak like this, what we should do? Should keep quiet as much as possible. So when I was reading this verse, one pastime of Lord Ram came in my mind. So therefore, Ram Navami meditations. Lord Ram has entered the Sita Swayamvar, Mithila. And it was told to him the previous night that the great Shiv Dhanush, which is so big and is put on a cart, and 300 strong men are required to push it, and that they do it with great effort. And anybody who breaks this bow will marry Sita. Lord Ram had no intention to marry Sita. Of course, that she's his eternal consort. That's a different angle. But he did not come to Mithila with a desire to marry. So when he came with Vishwamitra, I told this many times, Vishwamitra told, Vatsaram Dhanur Pashya, my dear Lord, my dear son, Lord Ram, go and see the Dhanush. So Lord Ram, being the first class disciple, understanding the mood and mission of the spiritual master, he went, he saw the Dhanush, he picked it up, he tried to string it, he broke it, he kept it down, he married Sita and did everything. This is the first class disciple. Now, when this marriage, should I describe the second class, third class disciples also? I like doing this. I talk to myself. This is the first class disciple who understands the mood and mission of his spiritual. The second class disciple will be like, oh, my guru has asked me to go and see the Dhanush and come. Vatsaram Dhanur Pashya. So they will take this diary and pen and they will measure, okay, the Dhanush is 6 feet or 18 feet long and this much wide and this color, and then they'll come back to Guru. You asked me to go and see, no? To the point, I'm following your instructions. Such disciples are of no use. Or rather, let's say they are of little use to the Guru. Guru is actually looking for those disciples who can understand the mood and mission and execute and please the spiritual master. Today is Srila Ramanujacharya's appearance day. He had many such disciples who would understand the mood and mission of Ramanujacharya. And Ramanujacharya himself was so brilliant and so observant as a disciple that even before he heard something from his spiritual master, he knew the essence of what his spiritual master wants. A third class disciple will not follow only. When he'll get instructions of the Guru, he will say, why should only I do every time? Why can't you set an example in front of me by acting as the right spiritual master? You see the Dhanush and tell me. Next time onwards, I will follow. So Lord Ram went, being the first class disciple, married Mother Sita. And when they were about to leave, Dashrath is going, Janak is going, Sita is going, Lakshmana, Bharat, Shatrughna have also married the other 3 daughters of the brother of Janak. And as they are about to go back to Ayodhya, the whole environment becomes very dull. Huge clouds appear in the sky. Everything becomes very gloomy, dark, as if some great tornado or hurricane is arriving. Thunderstorms start coming in the sky. Leaves started falling down. Trees started shivering. Animals, they also became stunned out of fear. So, Janak and Dashrath, they go to Vishwamitra. And Vashisht was also there. And they asked, what is happening? So at that time, Vishwamitra told that Parshuram is 100 kilometers away. And he's about to come. And because he's about to come here, these symptoms are coming. That is Parshuram. That is also Krishna only. And then when he comes, we all know, all of you have seen that Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana, which is little different from what Valmiki Ramayana says. So Valmiki Ramayana or Valmiki Muni, he is appreciating this quality of Lord Ram. His austerity in speech, which consists of words which are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and non-agitating, and also regularly reciting Vedic literature. This is the lesson learned from the pastimes of Lord Ram. We all want to follow Lord Ram. This is the first thing which we should follow. When Parshuram came and told that, who is that Ram who I have heard, who has taken birth in Ikshvaku dynasty and who have heard has broken this Shiv Dhanush? Where is that Ram? Ask him to appear in front of you. So at that time, Lord Ram recited a verse from the Vedic literature, regularly reciting Vedic literature. So Lord Ram recited a verse from the Vedic literature, which was glorifying Parshuram. And after doing that, he said, you're looking for Ram, you're only that Ram. Other than you, who else can be Ram? So as soon as Parshuram heard this, he was very pleased. And what Ram said was also truthful. That you are only Ram, who else can be Ram? In your presence, how can anybody else be Ram? And then he asked him that why did you break the Dhanush? The Lord Ram said, see, I didn't break the Dhanush. I was following Guru Agya. My Guru asked me to go and see the Dhanush. I just tried to see the Dhanush, but the Dhanush was so weak and so old that as soon as I touched it, it broke. So you see, he was truthful. He didn't speak a lie just to avoid punishment. And then Parshuram said, do you know who I am? I am worshipper of Lord Shiva. He is my Ishta. And you are telling me that you broke the Shiv Dhanush and you think you will not be punished by me? Have you seen my axe? As soon as Parshuram raised his axe, both Ram and Lakshman, they offered obeisances to the axe. Again, pleasing by their behavior. And Parshuram is getting perplexed. That are they against me or are they worshipping me or are they on my side? I'm not able to understand only. And then he said that with this Parshu, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samsthapanadhaya sambhavami. I have done this. And now it is my prescribed duty to kill people who have malicious intentions towards Sanatan Dharma. Immediately, Lord Ram stops him and he says, yes, it is your duty, but no longer. Now it is my duty to do paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam. So when Parshuram heard this, he became stunned. Immediately, he started thinking that probably he is Vishnu, he is Krishna. And now my time is over. Immediately, he started to test him by invoking the Sharanga bow or the Dhanush, knowing that if he can actually hold that Dhanush, then he'll become sure. So he said the mantra once. The Dhanush didn't come to his hand. He thought maybe I have not chanted my 16 rounds properly today. So let me try again. So he chanted the Sharanga invocation mantra again. Didn't come. Again, he did Achman and focused his mind, chanted the mantra again. Third time again, when it didn't come, with frustration, he looked at Lord Ram and he saw the Dhanush is already there in Lord Ram's hand. And then he understood that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you see, in the whole speech of Lord Ram, he was truthful. He was beneficial. Nobody else could have benefited Parshuram the way Lord Ram benefited him by telling him कि आपका time खत्म हो गया है. And he was very pleasing. He was offering obeisances to Parshu. And the way in which he was talking to Parshuram, he was not agitating him. Otherwise, Parshuram would have started killing everybody, starting with Janak and then everybody. But no massacre happened. This is the only place where Parshuram comes with a lot of anger, but not even a single drop of blood falls down. And Lord Ram was regularly reciting Vedic literature also. So this is such a nice lesson learned from the pastimes of Lord Ram. So today I was discussing another verse, and this reminds me, this is the verse from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushakha hyanantascha Buddhayo vyavasayinam. Somebody from Mataji's side can read this translation.
Those who are
No, you have already read, no? No? Okay.
those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Gurus, intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched.
Yes. They are resolute in their purpose. This reminded me of a pastime of Hanuman. When Hanuman was ordered to go and find Mother Sita, as he started his jump from one side of the ocean to the other side of the ocean, many obstacles came. Can you name some of the obstacles? Sursa? Can you describe Sursa? Who said Sursa? Yeah, give me some description. You know the Chaupai from Ramcharitmanas? Tell. अरे यार, कुछ भी बोल देंगे क्या? ठीक है, you describe in your language.
She was very giant, having the path of Hanuman, and she has the capacity to enlarge them.
Very good. Yes.
Then in the Tara, I am not bigger.
You have your demigod with you, no? Search it out. So Sursa was given a benediction by Lord Brahma that anybody who will cross you or who will come in your path should become your meal. And she was sent by the demigods to test the determination of Hanuman. Primary lesson learned from this is that whenever you decide to serve Lord Krishna or do some bhakti, you will be tested. So Sursa represents stubbornness. Sometimes in the process of rendering devotional service, we encounter many stubborn people. Sometimes we see many spiritually advanced people who are spiritually stubborn. Sometimes we see many people who are not so spiritually advanced, but mildly stubborn. Stubbornness cannot be avoided. So Sursa was there. She said, Hanuman. Hanuman said, see, I'm on the task of performing a job for Lord Ram. I can't wait. I don't have time, my dear mother. Let me just go and finish the work. Then I will come and then you can eat me. But Sursa said, no, you cannot cross from here. So so Hanuman said, see, I'm so big. How can I enter your mouth? So Sursa said, don't worry. She made her mouth 10 yojanas long, big, wide. So Hanuman also expanded his body and became 10 yojanas wide and long. Then she made herself 20. Hanuman also made 20, became 20, 30, 30. After that, 40, 40. After that, 50, 50. It went all till 100 yojanas. Sursa's mouth became 100 yojanas wide and long, and Hanuman also became 100 yojanas wide and long. At that time, Hanuman was thinking, what am I doing? I'm trying to defeat Sursa. That is not the purpose of my mission. I am here to serve Lord Ram. Why am I getting into an ego battle with Sursa? Therefore, this verse. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kuru nandana bahushakha hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. Somehow or the other, I have to serve Krishna and I have to do whatever it takes. I have no other purpose. And the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. If Hanuman would have not been fully determined, he would have probably got into a battle with Sursa. But he didn't do that. He remembered his purpose, Vyavasayatmika buddhi. I have to serve Lord Ram. And then immediately he became as small as a fly, entered the mouth of Sursa, jumped, and then came out. And then he said that, my dear mother, you wanted me to become your food. See, I went inside your mouth, and now I've come out. I have become your food, but your mouth was so big by the time you were trying to close it, I came and went inside 100 times. So now I can leave. So when Sursa saw this Vyavasayatmika buddhi of nature of Hanuman, she became so pleased with him. When she saw this intelligence of Hanuman, spiritual intelligence of Hanuman, she became so pleased with him that she blessed him that you will become successful in your mission and you will be able to find Sita. Lesson learned that if we are focused in our service to Krishna, even demoniac forces will cooperate with us sooner or later. However, I can go on describing many characteristics of that pursuit. He meets another obstacle whose name was Himsika. Does anybody know Himsika? What was the characteristics of Himsika? She used to hold on to the shadow of someone who was passing by. So Hanuman was flying at a very high speed, faster than Superman also. And then Himsika held on to the shadow of Hanuman, which was on water. And with that, she was trying to stop. So Valmiki Ramayana says Himsika represents envy. She was envious of anybody who would come in that area. Can you tell me one character or one demon in Krishna Lila which represents enviousness? Very good. Sorry? Kalia. Yes, Kalia also. He had territorial consciousness. He used to think this area is mine. How can Krishna come here? So Hanuman, how he dealt with envy. What he did with Himsika? He went inside the body of Himsika and then he killed her and came out. He didn't waste time. He wasted some time with the stubbornness of Sursa, and with his Vyavasayatmika buddhi nature, he conquered Sursa. But he did not waste time with Himsika. So another lesson which we learn from Hanuman's pastime is that we should not waste time with envious people. It is very important to avoid envious people and do whatever it takes to stay away. In case of Hanuman, he avoids people by killing them. But we cannot kill people. So we should avoid envious people if we want to serve Lord Krishna. So these are some of the thoughts which I had, which came to my mind in today's discussion. Just to summarize, Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not someone who is a cheater. There are many cheaters who are trying to become Krishna. We should not fall in that trap. We saw the various kinds of cheating religions. We saw the method to study Bhagavatam. What are there? Attentive, submissive, respectful, and patient. These four characteristics are needed for any student of Srimad Bhagavatam who wants to become God realized. Sorry. Then we discussed how Lord Krishna is Akhil Rasamrit Murti. He enjoys various rasas with various people and enables them to serve him in that rasa. Srila Prabhupada says Mother Yashoda became servant of Lord Krishna. Sorry, Mother Yashoda became mother of Lord Krishna to become servant of Lord Krishna. Sridham became friend of Lord Krishna to become servant of Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani became lover of Lord Krishna to become servant of Lord Krishna. So Krishna enables us to serve him in the degree and the capacity which we want. And he enjoys those rasas with us just to give us that satisfaction which we are looking for since various lifetimes. And our only job description is to surrender to Lord Krishna. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudhrida Nishchaya. Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hai. This line is there in Bhagavad Gita, which is one of my favorite lines. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. We have to understand who is sublime, Krishna is sublime, and have unflinching faith in him. and be very determined in our process of worshipping Him. With that, I would like to conclude today's discussion. If there are any questions or comments, they are welcome. Reflections. Sorry for my throat. Yes.
Taking in of easy way to not agitate.
Yes.
Bigger temple, temple, and I think the Sadhipuram temple, both the devotees were fighting. I don't know which group was right. I don't know. It's on TV I saw. They were fighting like anything. And in such situation, like how always will be pleasing. And fighting is going on or something.
I was hearing one lecture of Srila Prabhupada. One student asked a question. Srila Prabhupada told him, please ask relevant questions. When a class is given, an environment is created. And if we can kindly stick to that environment and ask questions, then it is beneficial for everybody. But if there is a question which is outside the subject matter of discussion, it can be asked personally. This is the general etiquette. This is called as parliamentary. When we are sitting in an association, we should ask relevant questions. This is not just for you, for me also, and for everybody. But since you have asked this question, we are never saying that the heated discussion which you saw was in line with Bhagavad Gita. We never said that. That is an unfortunate situation where two parties are trying to talk each other out, are trying to make something understand each other, which is definitely not pleasing to each other. So they are not following austerity of speech. They are trying to have a discussion and help each other to understand some spiritual subject matter. And both of them are on the equal strength. So the debate which you have seen, no result also would have come out of it. Did you see any conclusion coming out of it? No. Yeah. So until and unless a higher or spiritually elevated personality comes into the picture and tries to help the people, that, okay, you are saying this, hold on to your point. You are saying this, hold on to your point. Follow this. Until and unless a higher spiritually elevated personality comes into the picture, generally such kind of discussions, which are not in line with this austerity of speech, will never come to any conclusion. It's like a fight happening in the parliament or some heated discussion which is happening on Vedic scriptures. Certainly such things are not pleasing, but sometimes such things are also needed. Truth has to be spoken, and it has to be spoken in a beneficial way, in a pleasant way. But not everybody can do that. Lord Ram can do it, Lord Krishna can do it. Others can aspire to do it. So this statement of Bhagavad Gita sets the highest possible standard, that it should be pleasing, it should be beneficial. But if there is a party which does not want to understand what its benefit, no matter how much you speak, they will get no benefit. So such conversations have little or less value. I'm not saying such conversations are unnecessary, but such conversations have little or less value, and they will have no conclusion until unless both parties surrender to some higher spiritually elevated personality and try to follow. Does this satisfy your question? Yes, somebody else was.
Concluded that I was asking, like, many times the groups are not present. We not speak.
Yes. Satyam Briyat Priyam Briyat. Vidura, when he came to meet Yudhishthir, at that time he already knew that Lord Krishna has left this planet. Is this good news or bad news? Bad news for Yudhishthir. But he did not speak it to Yudhishthir. He should have told, but he did not speak it to Yudhishthir, thinking that every news has its own course of time and it will come. So if there is some truth which is not very pleasing to hear, why should I become the deliverer of the misery of carrying that truth and telling to someone? Anyways, it will come out on its own. God has a plan for everybody. So we should not become the deliverers of misery to people in the name of seekers or followers of truth. So better to keep quiet and not speak the truth. However, if you are in the role of a teacher or a guide or a spiritual master, you don't have any option. You have to speak the truth. But if a particular person has not come and surrendered unto you, our problem is that people don't want guidance from us, but we try to guide them. So therefore, we spoil our relationship. Until unless someone comes and actually bows down to your feet and says, Shishyaste ham sadhimam tvam prapannam. Till that time, we should not give advice. So until that time, we should, Krishna had so many things to say. Arjuna was going crazy in the first chapter. Take me there, take me here, stop me there, stop me there. Oh, why this, why that? Krishna could have immediately started lecturing him, but he was not. At that time, he was following the Anudvega Karam Vakyam. Satyam Priyam Hitam Chayat. But as soon as Arjuna said, I am a soul surrendered unto you, I am your disciple, you do whatever you say, I will do. Immediately, Krishna stopped following this Anudvega Karam Vakyam. Immediately, he said, you are an idiot. You are speaking like a Pandit, but you are actually a fool. Is this pleasing to hear? Yeah. So sometimes, coming back to you also, sometimes this verse has to be followed, and sometimes this verse cannot be followed. Now, for the benefit of Arjuna, Krishna cannot speak Satyam Priyam Hitam Chayat. Lagana padega Arjun ko. Otherwise, Arjun will not understand. This is the principle, but I didn't say that it is universally applicable in all kinds of conversations, in all kinds of roles. No. In general, this is the principle. But especially when it comes to the role of spiritual master and disciple, or especially when it comes for the role of, like Vidura, younger brother, talking to elder brother Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra is going crazy. He's in Maya. So the younger brother has to shake him up. So in order to be beneficial, sometimes you have to be harsh. Just like Vidura chastised Dhritarashtra, that you are like a dog who's feeding on food which is given by Bhima, who has killed all your 100 sons. It doesn't sound pleasing. But as soon as Dhritarashtra heard this, he walked out of Hastinapur. So sometimes to be beneficial, people cannot be pleasing also. But this is the highest possible way of speaking, the best possible way of speaking. Lord Ram can do it, Lord Krishna can do it, but not everyone can do. And everyone should aspire to do it also. And the more you progress in having all these qualities in your speech, the more effective communicator you will become. Does it satisfy both of your questions? Any last questions, comments, reflections? No, one question per person. Yes.
So-called mother and so-called father multiple times.
Yes, yes.
We always see Acyuta and I did Prabhupada because you said that whatever Prabhupada is mentioning in here, there is a reason behind it.
Yes. The question is why Srila Prabhupada again and again mentioning Devaki is the so-called mother, or Mother Yashoda is the so-called mother, and Nand Baba is the so-called father. He's trying to make us understand that actually nobody can be father or mother of God. God is everybody's father and mother. However, he gives a chance to people to serve him in various capacities. Mother Yashoda is a spirit soul who has a desire to serve God as a mother. So Krishna has given her, Mother Yashoda, who is his devotee actually, Krishna has given her the opportunity to play the role of a mother. Therefore, so-called mother. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhu cha sakha tvameva. Krishna only is everybody's father. Krishna only is everybody's mother. Krishna only is everybody's friend, everybody's well-wisher. Another argument which can be given, if somebody has a father, he cannot be God. Do you have a father? You are not God. If you find a person who has no source, but he is the source of everything else, that person is God. Ishwaraha Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna is the cause of all causes. Krishna is the cause of Mother Yashoda also, Nanda Maharaj also, Devaki also, Vasudeva also. He is the cause of everything. So who can be the father of Krishna? Nobody. But he allows some devotees to become father, hence so-called father. And Prabhupada has told it 2 times just for you to realize this. Otherwise, you would have never realized this philosophical truth. Okay? Any other questions or comments? Sorry, my throat is not good. Okay, in the interest of time, we will stop here now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.